Obviously, after Saturday, much like I said that night or that afternoon, it's great to play a football game. When we looked at things after the game, saw how we played, how things all sort of manufactured itself throughout the football game. I thought we played with great confidence. We handled some adversity, which is always good to see in a football game. You know, if things go well for you the entire time, maybe you don't handle the adversity, but you build on what you have. So there were some adverse situations there, which was a positive to come out of those. I thought we played very enthusiastically, played with great effort. I thought we showed leadership on the football team. I thought guys gravitated to certain people, and that was a positive. When you really get down into the meat of everything, also, I guess you talk about the crowd. I thought the great crowd on opening day, coming off a tough season last year. I thought our students were into it. Great showing by them as well. So that was a positive. When you really look at the game itself and you start to break it down, handled sudden change situations on the defensive side of the ball. 2-minute situation at the end of the half probably was, as good as we could do. Took it all the way down the field in a minute 23, I think, or something like that. We had explosive plays offensively, lack of those plays on defense, which is a positive. Only 3 big plays on defense, and those were as a result of a couple missed tackles. Turnovers sort of evened out after we got off the field on 4th down, but turnovers are a concern, obviously, especially the one on 1st and goal. Special teams played very, very well. Hartberger has a big day. I thought we kicked off well and covered well, which we're going to need to do this week as well. And when you look at our offense and defense, I thought very productive on the defensive side of the ball. And you go, I think we were 15 out of 17 on 3rd or 4th down, which is positive. And then on the other side of the ball, I think we were 8 out of 14 on 3rd down. Quarterback created, good to see. And we had 20 or 21 players playing for the first time in Spartan Stadium, so actually playing a football game for the first time. So that was a positive as well, so they got that experience. Western Michigan comes on Saturday, big 3:30 game. I know there'll be a great crowd there. Excited about that opportunity. They played very well against USC, obviously. I'm sure everybody saw that football game, and MAC champions and playing in the Cotton Bowl last year, so they played at a high level, and they expect to win, and it'll be another challenge for us. So we're looking forward to that opportunity. But I'll take some questions. We'll go from there.
Mark, obviously you want to redshirt Rocky Lombardi, but I'm curious, with a big lead, you had to send Brian back in the 4th quarter with Damian. Concerns about Messiah, obviously. Do you at least have to get Rocky reps with the twos in practice, even though your intention is to redshirt him just so he's ready in worst case scenario?
Rocky gets a little bit of the reps, not too many. But Damian was sort of battling a slight injury there, so we didn't put him in the game. Damian is much, he's better than that performance that happened out there. And I think that's what he has to concentrate on. He's played well for us in the past, and for whatever reason, I just felt like we didn't want to end the game in that fashion, and we're going to make sure that, hey, you go in, you make plays. So that was the mindset there, and so we finished it up, but he went back in after. Rocky, though, is let's just put it this way, he's far ahead of most freshmen. So that's been a good thing to see.
Mark, you have some experience with Darius Phillips.
Yeah, bad ones.
Yeah. 70 yards and then a 100-yarder in the last time you played him. And again, did it to USC. When you have a dynamic return man like that, does it change the approach to everything you do in the kicking game?
Well, you certainly understand that he's a factor in any football game, and so whether it's on punt or whether it's on kickoff, we have to work extremely hard to counteract what he's doing. So that'll be a challenge, and our guys will know what's going on. He was a virtual unknown to us on that particular day, back in 15. But we know who he is now, so we'll get ourselves ready.
Coach, way in the back here. Much like you guys do with 3 or 4 running backs that can carry the football at any given point, Western does the same thing. What kind of challenges does that present for you, and how do you counteract that?
I think they do a good job running the football. I think their guys run with power. You've got 3 of them back there. All of them have experience. All of them have been productive. And, it's very similar to the guys that we have in that respect. And they're guys I think are a little bit change of speed guys. They got a guy a little bit like, Edwin Baker was maybe, and a guy in between, and a big guy. So they've got the 3 different versions. We've got a little bit of everything, a little bit of the same. But I think they're 3 good running backs, and they know how to run the football, and you could see that against USC on Saturday afternoon.
Mark, after looking back at the film and you get a chance to get a better glimpse of the offensive line, what things did you see that looked positive, and what things do you guys need to work on there?
Well, I thought that, when you try and run the football, there's so many different components to it. It's what defense are they lined up in, how the tight ends block, how the F block, how the wide receivers block, all these different things as you enter into it. But I thought that they played pretty well. They pass protected very well. I didn't think we got a lot of pressure on our quarterback. He got out of problems when there was. And, we were able to run the ball effectively, although we didn't have those big gutted plays where you bounce for 30. You had 1 or 2 of those, and, you're talking about 250 yards of running offense. I look at sort of things in terms of our running game as what is the true component of our running game. Take out the quarterback scrambles, even take out the wide receiver sweep, and look at what was true to what we tried to do with our tailbacks. So, it's about 150 yards of that probably. When you throw everything else into it, it's about 240 or whatever it is. But I'm very confident. That's the strength of our football team. Those guys can run the football. They're tough guys. They'll break tackles. They'll run through tackles. They understand our offense. Our offensive line will block. I do think from an offensive line perspective, we played some young players. We played true freshmen, which I've said before, very difficult to do. You see it happen, I think, more and more right now, but I thought Jordan Reed played very well, and Kevin Jarvis was solid for guys who walking out there for the first time.
On your left here. I know it's been about a year, not quite a year, September 17th, since you guys won back-to-back games. What would it mean? I know it's football being very much a 1 game at a time, 1 week at a time focus and mentality. What would it mean, though, to string 2 of those games together, 2 wins together?
Well, really just quite simply, it means we're 2-0. I mean, we've put 10 and 12 together before. So the first thing we have to do before we can go 3-0 is go 2-0. So we're taking things very slowly. We'll get ready to play this football game. I think that Western is a very good football team. I think their quarterback's doing a great job. Play calling is excellent. They run the inside-outside zone. They wham the guy across, do some different things there. Their defense, I think, is very active. They have, I think, 8 of their top 10 tacklers back. They expect to win. Special teams are solid, very, very good. So we'll just worry about the next one. But I would say it's uncommon for us to have been a year where we haven't put 2 games together. But, hey, you live and learn. You experience everything in your life once, I promise you that, usually.
Mark, the receivers, you played a lot of guys. There are several true freshmen, but guys that have been around a little bit. Felton Davis played well, and Darryl Stewart, I thought, really kind of stood out. Could you talk about those guys and how they played in the open?
Yeah, I thought Darryl Stewart really performed exceptionally well. Had some big plays in the game, played hard, played tough. Big play in the 2-minute situation, big play in the first drive. He was on kick returns, punt returns as well. Felton with some big catches. Got to come down with the one on the deep end and had it. Defensive guy made a nice play. But both those guys, I think, are good football players. And I think every freshman caught a ball. Cam Chambers has a big catch. That's his first time playing as well, so big catch for him. And I think he had about 18 or 20 plays, so that was a positive. Cody White gets involved in the situations, and I think our wide receiver situation is solid. We'll see how it performs throughout the season. They're young, but capable.
Mark, there's so much natural energy and emotion to an opening game. You could feel it Saturday in the stands, on the sidelines. Is that tougher to do for a game too? I don't suggest you fabricate anything, but do you worry about emotion?
I really think that, much like the question that was asked about going 2-0, I mean, we have to move forward. our football team realizes that. That's the first step. Our first step has to be to win the first game, and then, our first phase, second phase of our whole season is this out-of-conference part of our season. So 3:30, I'm sure the place is going to be packed. A lot of excitement. Good football team coming in here. Should be a great game. I would expect our guys to be very, very excited about playing. A lot of these guys have played against each other in high school. We got a brother of Tristan's, Obi is on Western's team. You got David Beadle's teammate. He'll probably play directly across from him, Matic. There's a lot of guys that we know that from, just recruiting and things of that nature, a lot of different guys that have played against our guys and that we know. So it should be exciting for both teams, and I think that's what makes college football so great, I think.
Coach Joe here on the right.
Yeah.
Kind of looking at Joe Baghi, he's kind of a guy that came in last year, played the last 6 games of the year. In the fans' mind, he's kind of an unknown. Was his play on Saturday kind of what you expect a part of the course, or did he just kind of blow out there?
No, I think it's what we expected. We knew he'd be a dynamic player, and I think he had 27 production points and 10-plus tackles, and I'm not sure how many assists. So I think he is what he is. The guy can really run. He's effective, very effective leader. He knows what's going on out there. He's a guy that's takes that Chris Spielman approach, I guess, or what I would say, or Chris Fry approach, or however you want to term it, that he's going to prepare for every football game, know what to do, and he's going to play hard. And he's an exceptional athlete. As I said, he's an all-round athlete, a punt returner, kick returner, tailback, shortstop, point guard, all those things. So he's very, very athletic in a lot of respects and tough and strong. Got to continue to get better because he's young, but he's just a sophomore, so that's a positive. And so many of our players are young. They're going to take step-by-step process through this, so they're going to be excited. And the question I got asked, are they excited to play? Some of these guys are playing in their second game. They're going to be excited.
Mark, did you get a chance to talk to Matt Sokol between the drop that hit him in the chest and then the touchdown he scored? And were you sort of relieved or happy for him that he got that opportunity so quickly after a moment like that?
Yeah, I was excited for him, relieved. You don't drop those like that too often, especially him. But I think was it in the same series? The next series. So I really didn't. When a guy makes a mistake, I really don't go over there and say, "Hey, you got to catch that one." He knows he's got to catch it. I just anticipate him doing his best the next time out. So he's a 100-mile-an-hour guy. So he's gonna play hard, and he's gonna bear down on himself first. So there's no reason for me to go over there and say, "Hey, you got to catch that." I think he knows that.
Coach, over here, you said you had many guys that came in and played their first ever game in Spartan Stadium. Who among that group really stood out to you and might be in line for more responsibility? Maybe not this week, but certainly once we get into the meat of the Big Ten schedule, that really stood out in your mind.
I think that, we had a lot of guys, I just look at the freshmen because it's really their first time, but you saw redshirt freshmen playing. I thought Chambers made a big catch. I thought Antoine Simmons made some nice hits out there. Josiah Scott's going to play and going to have a big part in this. I just can't think of all these guys. I thought Jacob Panasuk played very well, the defensive end. And he's tough to play up there with the big people as a defensive lineman. I thought Jordan Reed played well. I thought there are a lot of guys I thought played well. So really, how do they handle that every week things change? Game plan changes. You're playing different people. You're playing different systems or concepts. How do you handle change? Can you stay healthy? That really defines it for you.
Mark, we saw Demetrius Cooper leaving, I think, in the second quarter, and he didn't return. We see him on the depth chart, but can you update us on his status? And
Yeah, I really don't talk about injuries or lack of thereof. So he'll be ready, I think, but we'll see.
Coach, at the quarterback position, can you talk about what do you want to see Brian, not specifically to X's and O's, but see him improve on, and then on the other side of the ball, what you like or what you got to take away from their guy?
Yeah, I thought Brian Lewerke played well. I thought he was in control of the offense. I thought he left some balls short or underthrew them a little bit, which he's got a great arm. I thought the first one out the gate, he could have hit big. Threw a couple high, threw a couple right on the money. Thought he got out of problems. So that was a very positive thing, which we knew he could do that. And I thought that the biggest thing that he did, I thought very well, was he led, and he didn't get overwhelmed by the situation or when things didn't go quite right. He didn't let that bother him. And I think he's only going to continue to get better and feel more comfortable in what he's doing out there. And it's just like Hartberger. I always sort of joke with Jake, it's like going to the fair now. Early on, he's got to come out there and concentrate. Now it's like going to the fair, man. It's like, see if I could hit these baskets here, or let me go over here and shoot over here, or toss a ball over here. He's booming those things. So we got to make sure we cover because we got a punt return that's going to bring it back. I think that he'll get more and more comfortable. On the defensive side of the ball, like I said, we stopped the run. We played well. On third down, we did pressure the quarterback, although it didn't come up with the sacks. We hit the quarterback numerous times. He's getting the ball out quick. They did a nice job with that. Thought we defended their play action or RPOs very well, and tackled very effectively. I think in the whole day we had maybe 8 missed tackles, and I think a couple of them were on one single play. Like 2 missed tackles on one play. So those are positive things, and I think we, again, going back to what I said, the only thing, the intangibles were all there. Playing hard, toughness, excited to play, enthusiasm, effort, leadership, all those things were there, which I think is the first thing that you got to look at every single day that we play. So I thought that was there.
Mark, last year against Wisconsin, LJ had the costly fumble, and it seemed like a couple games after that he kind of struggled to get going. How do you help him kind of bounce back from a game like Saturday's?
Well, I think LJ's a proven commodity, first of all, just like the rest of the other running backs. I think they're guys that have carried the ball a lot. They've gained the yards. They've played against good competition and had big plays and been consistent. So, it happens. Yeah, am I disappointed? Am I get frustrated just like he does? He's more frustrated than I am. And now we just move on. And so, obviously, you can't do that on a consistent basis, but I don't really worry about him. I don't worry about that being a problem with him. And I think he's a very good running back, and I think he's got talent, and he'll be confident. He'll be excited to play.
2 questions, I'll ask them separate. First, Mark, you mentioned after the game, and to your credit, you hadn't seen the film, that you were happy with your defensive backs. Yesterday, Coach Jenks mentioned that 7 times they got past your defensive backs, and either they only connected once, either they overthrew them or just didn't throw. After you saw the film, are you still as encouraged by your defensive back play as you were after the game?
Yeah, I am, because a lot of times we ran back into phase, back into a position to make the play on the ball. We played the ball, looking through the man and played the ball and knocked it out. I mean, people are going to get a step on you. I mean, that's going to happen, but can you run back into phase or run back into control so that you're in control of the wide receiver? And I think that we did that. A couple times, we had the guy pinned on the sideline, so the margin of error becomes like this, and they catch the ball out of bounds. Well, that's an incomplete pass, and that's because the defensive backs walled him up. Hey, everybody's got players. As I said last week, every football game, every competition that you play athletically, there is competition, and people come ready to play. So we need to expect that, and I again congratulate BG. I mean, they played hard, and they were right there, but things sort of separated.
After watching the film, can you kind of give us your evaluations of Western's new quarterback, please?
I thought he did a great job running the offense. I think he did exactly what they asked him to do. Probably will throw the ball more effectively as he gets older, but he throws the deep ball well, and first time starting, so probably a little jittery out there, but he can run the ball, and he runs the offense, and he's a threat to run the football. And I think you can tell he's got good leadership, and he's tough. And I think those are the first 2 ingredients you look for in a quarterback. Is he tough? What kind of leadership does he have? Can he create and make a play? I think he can create and make a play.
Darryl Stewart made a number of explosive plays, almost had a touch. I'd not heard of him. You got him out of Houston, I guess. I don't know how you found him, but did he show that to you at all, or did that catch you by surprise?
No, we've always thought Darryl had great ability. We recruited him out of Houston. I think he's from Nimitz High School. He's an outstanding wideout down there, defensive back, played quarterback as well. So he's a guy that really has redshirted. Last year played a little bit. This year really has made it to he's a full-time starter and that type of thing. So I thought he played very well, but those are the things that we've expected from him along the way. Confident, big.
You kind of touched on the defensive line and some of the things that you saw in terms of pressure. Where did you see in terms of the middle guys versus the edge guys? It seemed like the three guys in the middle in particular, it seemed like they got pretty good push.
Yeah, they played well in there. I thought Naquan Jones took a big step forward. I thought the other guys in there were solid, but Naquan played like we thought Naquan would play. I mean, he's 327 pounds. He was very active with his hands. He played with great effort. Thought we got the same thing from the other guys. It just, you just all of a sudden saw Naquan popping out of there, you know, playing a little bit more consistent. But I thought we played well inside, and we held the point and build a wall. And that's what we're going to have to do this week, because they're a big zone team, and the things that they do are, you know, are difficult to defend. And their backs, as we said, were very, very good. Guys, good? Yeah.
I'm sure you saw what happened at the end of the USC game, that Coach Lesser signed off on the blind snap and getting a chance to do that. I was just wondering what you think of the coach in his first FBS game granting such a gesture and what that seems.
I didn't hear the last part. What's the question? Because I.
So, yeah, Tim Lester signed off with USC that once the game got out of hand, Clay Helton subbed in a blind long snapper that USC had for his first college snap.
Yeah.
I was just wondering your thoughts on a coach in his first FBS game, what that speaks about his character, being willing to make such a magical moment happen.
I think coaches, you can just tell by the way he interviews and by the way he handles himself that he's a first-class person, and he deeply cares about his program and his players. And, you know, I think he's going to have an outstanding career there.
Kind of looking back at that 2015 game, how has this team changed? Just, I guess, small subset with one game tape with Tim, but how has it changed in that time?
Their team or our team?
Yeah, their team.
Their team, well, different quarterback, different concepts, different coordinators and head coaches. So I do think that they have changed to some degree. Special teams coordinator is still there. Tim Dowse is the defensive coordinator. Tim was a GA for us at Cincinnati when I was there. You know, he worked at Syracuse, ran a lot of the same things that we had run, but I think he's changed. He's been at Central, he's been at Western now twice, but I think that he plays an aggressive defense, and his guys are going to play very active, and they have experience, so they have been able to adapt. If there has been any adaptation, they have adapted a little bit. I think offensively, Kevin Johns, their coordinator, is a guy who's been in Indiana for a long time, for I think 6 years. So you get that type of dynamic, the Indiana type of dynamic, and also been at Northwestern. So you tend to go back and watch Northwestern film, or you go back and watch Indiana film, or you watch USC film, but see a lot of the things that concepts that were used by those people. But I think he's done an outstanding job. So good football team. I think they're a good football team. There's a reason they won the games that they did last year. It's because of coaching and because of players, and because they were together on what they were doing.
Mark, did it help? I mean, your team with Western giving USC such a run, did it help maybe just not, you know, get your guys prepared and know that this team is, you know,
real?
Yeah. I mean, it's not the team from last year, but just kind of, does that make a benefit for you that they gave them a run and were in that game?
I think it was impressive. You had an opportunity to beat the number 4 team in the country. I thought it was also impressive that they hung right there and had a chance to win in the Cotton Bowl, and obviously what they were able to accomplish last year. Go a little farther back to 2015, and you know, our football game with them, just like every football game, you know, was not just a walk in there and, hey, let's go. It was extremely competitive. Their players, again, are from this area of the country, predominantly, and they know a lot of our players, and they're going to compete. And you can tell how hard they play on film, so it's impressive. So it should be a great football game on Saturday, and we're looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.